Hi, I'm Kaylee Bean, and this is Influencing Complex Change. To start, I thought we would look at a quote from our textbook on page 193. If we are truly committed to reaching the students furthest from opportunity, we must reimagine our approach and infuse choice and voice at every level of the system for students, family, and staff. Now, this quote really resonated with me. A lot of this presentation will be in terms of which level it will be about the staff, but it is in reaching students that are furthest from opportunity in each class with each student in St. Michael Albertville High School. So, just some key ideas for myself understanding these key terms and when they were used with situational awareness, complicated problems, and complex challenges regarding different opportunities that come up in education and where these students are and diagnosing those challenges, and then how we can best address them as a classroom teacher or administrator. So, step one is tell the current state story. So this year at STMA High School, our administration team, in conjunction with our teachers, everything's about student experience. So student experience matters at STMA. Now, one way we are working through that student experience is through a school-wide student survey. Now, this is the first time we've done anything like this in the 6 years that I've been here. And that student survey is a Google form. It's completely anonymous. There are about 10 questions that each teacher they have to keep on the survey from the administrators, but you can also add your own depending upon things that you want to know about, course specific materials such as like AP Government or Sociology. Now, reading the text, I identified that as level 2 map for the data, as it is a student perception survey. So then that would be the data. The micro narratives at STMA can be highlighted through the survey. Now, our trimester just ended last week, so I actually gave this survey to all of my classes on Thursday. I'm eager to look through the results when I get back to my desk on Monday regarding how students feel in their classroom environment when they're in a class with Mrs. Bean. If they feel I'm enthusiastic about the material and have been engaging with them for the material, if feedback has been meaningful and timely, if they have felt respected by their peers, their teachers, their administrators. So really looking forward to the results of this survey. I think for level 1 and level 2 data too, like the text said, to be able to see some of those identifying pieces with relationships, information, to develop the patterns that you might see throughout. Step 2. Name an equity imperative. So one thing that I've continued to talk about in discussion posts throughout this course is courageous conversations compass. That's something that I utilize in my undergrad, as well as our school district utilizes with staff and starting with students. And really, we're validating people's reaction to the data. So depending upon data results, whether it's just mine or just our data as an entire school, there will be lots of emotion depending upon groups that don't feel welcome potentially in the school or areas of improvement. And that equity imperative really should be a call to action. So I find that ours should be to, quote, engage continuous improvement of student support systems and programs as a whole. And I think a big way we can do that is using the tool of courageous conversation compass to be able to have those conversations about race, and ultimately how race may have played a factor in our student experience at STMA High School. Step 3, identify a few simple rules. So this is something that was actually put on a poster for us that each teacher has somewhere around their classroom. And basically, rule one: is the teaching great? Do students feel we are enthusiastic about them, most importantly, as individuals and teaching the whole student, but as well as our content? Are we enthusiastic in that practice? Rule two: are our students prepared for their next steps outside of their walls, beyond our walls at STMA, whether that be trade school, going into work right away, traveling the world, going to a 4-year, college or university? How are we best preparing our students for their next steps to be critical thinkers, to be able to communicate effectively once they are out of STMA high school? And then finally, rule three: are our spaces the types of places that our students want to be? And that just goes back to creating that safe and supportive environment in our classroom. That's really one of the questions that's a part of that survey is how students are. Do they feel safe? Do they feel supported? And then depending upon that, the data results, we can create, diagnose those challenges and create a plan to improve. Step 4 is to create a skinny plan. So our good enough vision of success for this year, by the end of the 2023-2024 school year, staff will teach expected behaviors and implement various strategies to engage students. So of course, student experience matters, but we also have to be holding students to a high standard. That doesn't mean that expectations are less, or that the standard we set is less. Of course, we're worried about our students' experience, but we need to make sure that we are holding them accountable in our class because we care. That's why we want to push them to that next level, whether it's in their extracurricular activities or in the classroom. Now, our must-dos: devote PLC time for engagement strategies for all students. Communicate expected behaviors to all classes, ninth grade teachers, all the way up to seniors. And that staff create an environment of support and positive reinforcement for all students. Step 5, deliverable development transformation, right? Establishing a few clear metrics with this data and this idea on improving our school and school culture. The deliverable aspect is, did we do it, right? Did we assign the surveys? Did we get results back from this level 2 map data? Do all kids feel like they are having a positive experience at STMA high school? And then the development piece is, what's our evidence and how are we able to share that evidence with various stakeholders that are involved in this process and want to know, what it's like for community members, for students to be involved at our high school. Then finally, transformation. Now, this is something that we'll have to not be able to look at right away. That's going to take some time and have to have a meaningful timeline behind it. But has something significant changed that will never be the same with that transformation piece? Now, with the new student experience initiatives in our school, I think that's a little too soon to tell, but I'm looking forward to continuing on for years to come. And then finally, step 6, distribute leadership and build capacity. So it's so important, like our text said, that everything isn't just coming, top to bottom, from our administrators down to our educators into, our paras and our students, but that there is capacity there for dialogue among coworkers and educators who are all doing their very best for kids. So at our school, we have a site council that's made up of various teachers and administrators, school counselors within our building. We have a staff development team that works very hard to create opportunities for us to continue learning, whether that is around equity, it might be around relationship building, reading strategies and comprehension. They do an awesome job. We have a parent council that meets with our administrators and some teachers, a student site council to get student perspective, as well as each department has a chair, and there are monthly department chair meetings where that leadership can be shared. And then our professional learning communities, PLCs. I am one of our PLC facilitators at the in our social studies department, and I really enjoy attending the facilitator meetings and just learning how we can continue to help and empower and provide tools for educators within our classrooms. This visual from our textbook, I think, does a really nice job showing instructional leadership teams, especially the distributive leadership, snowflake leadership, and how it fans out very evenly compared to the waiting for the Superman, woman, or explosive leadership. We really we're not perfect at it, but at STMA try to have that distributive leadership, and I thank our administrators for trying to provide that for us. So, some continued questions I thought about as I created this presentation and continued to read Chapter 9 in our text is what will come naturally for me as an educator and what I foresee as being challenging as you try to influence change. I think what will come naturally, I love trying to build relationships with kids. I advise National Honor Society, coach girls hockey, and love being a classroom teacher. So that definitely is something that I enjoy learning about continued ways if we're focusing on student experience and trying to implement that change. That's just something that I really appreciate as being a part of a team sport and around education for a long time. One thing that I could see being challenging is, we have about 120 staff members, and everyone has very differing opinions on various strategies, and things take time. To influence change, it takes time, and I'm not a very patient person. So I would say that would be a big challenge, is just being aligned as a team and a teaching team, and having that culture piece is so important. And then just creating the space and time and understanding that it will take some patience as change comes. Thank you for listening to this presentation.